I am Darby Neff-Veer. I'm the coordinator of guidance and counseling here at Brookline High School, and we're very excited to see such a great crowd of parents, caregivers, and students. This is the first year that we have asked sophomores and their parents to join. This is what in the past has been typically a junior event. And we're very excited. How many junior students and parents are here tonight? Can you just raise your hand? All right, fantastic. And how many sophomores are here with their parents? Okay, just good to know who our audience is. We decided to invite sophomores and their parents for the first time because the feedback is parents and students want to know what's coming up. You're going to hear from Lenny Libenzon, who's the college counselor. He also carries a guidance caseload, but he'll be talking tonight about the junior year timeline. And we're also excited to have Drew Halprin here from Summit Educational Testing to talk about college admissions testing. I just send this out to sophomores in particular. By inviting you here tonight, we are not encouraging, and you will hear this from both Lenny and Drew, that you should be running out and starting to take different kinds of college admissions tests as a sophomore. What we're trying to do is give you an idea of what to expect so that it is our attempt to try to give you information to reduce your stress and anxiety as much as possible. I just want to do a couple of other quick announcements and then we'll get rolling. I want to do a couple of shout outs. The first is to the PTO for working with us. Both the sophomore and junior PTO representatives have been wonderful in working with us. Particularly I want to call out one parent, Carolyn Barnes, who due to her graphic design genius has been working with us on these timelines, roadmaps. She and I just worked together and updated the junior timeline from what was initially out through our department and on our website. So this has been updated in your hands as well as on the guidance website. So I hope you find it helpful. For sophomores, we have a breakfast coming up in early January, and we'll be actually doing a sophomore roadmap as well. That's in process. I'd also like to just recognize that we have Brookline Interactive Group, Big, here tonight, who is taping. So for any parents and students who can't get enough of this information, you can go back online and through your PTO rep. That'll be out there for parents and students to look at again. For folks who aren't here tonight, couldn't make it, this is a way for them to get the information as well. So thank you to Big. A couple other handouts I just want to let you know about. For the first time, we also put together this pink sheet, which is a planning worksheet for test taking. Again, it does not mean that every student should be taking every one of these tests every single date. That is not the purpose. You'll hear more on strategies about how to think about a plan that works for you around test taking, particularly as you enter into your junior year. This is just kind of a guideline to help you as an individual start figuring out what the best plan is for you. So hopefully you'll find that worksheet helpful. And there's also information on what's called the Mass Transfer Program. Maybe Lenny can talk very briefly about that. That's not part of his junior timeline, but he can mention that. And you will hear from Drew and Summit. This is through the Summit Educational Program. A lot of wonderful information that you hear about tonight, but you can take it home as well. One last note before I stop talking. I just want to put out there, PSAT scores came out today. Lenny will talk more about that in a couple of minutes. This school can be a stressful, anxiety-producing place for many students. And when students start talking with each other, comparing their scores, comparing their grades, that ups the ante and can make it really hard for students to focus and do their best. And for students who are trying to do their best, but feeling pressure that those around them are for some reason doing better, that can really get in their way. So we're really asking, making a plea to students in the audience and to parents to really think about the fact that that information that you're getting, whether it's PSAT scores or your grades when quarter IPRs come out next week or quarter 2 grades later, all of an SATs or ACT scores down the road, all that information is your private information. It's really not helping for people to be sharing their scores. We can't stop you from doing that, so that's just the reality. But we are asking for folks to try to tamp it down. And you can say, if somebody asks you, you can respond back in a very kind and respectful way and say, I did great, I'm happy with my scores, thanks for asking. How about those Patriots, even though they didn't do very well recently? Anyway, just a suggestion to throw out to folks, and you can think about it and talk about it at home. I'd like to introduce Lenny Libenzon, and thanks for coming tonight.
Thank you so much. My name is Lenny Libenzon. I'm the college counselor here and a guidance counselor. A lot of you might have seen me before. Tonight I have a short segment where I just introduced the calendar. We gave out the calendar, so you have it in one of your handouts. If you're missing any of the handouts, we'll have them all on our website, and you'll be able to download them. Sorry, wrong. Technical difficulties. 1 second. All right, there you go. So first and foremost, our students work very closely with our guidance counselors, and you can see their names on this slide here. This is the way, if you need to email them, this is how their names are. You would spell their names, so first name _ last name @ psbma.org. I highly recommend meeting with your counselor during your junior year and at some point during sophomore year. And I'll talk about it during the introduction to the calendar. This is Lenny Libenzon, who is the college counselor. This year I'm working with Kate Cordner, who is our career counselor. And we opened the College and Career Center. It's in room 279. We have a lot of kids stopping by. We have our hours posted on the center. I highly, again, we welcome all students. So Kate's work is in career exploration and information. She also helps students with interviewing, job shadowing, and helping students who look for alternative pathways after graduation, for example, going into trades. So if you need a summer job or if you're looking for an internship, I also recommend stopping by and talking to Kate Cordner. This is the Brookline Guidance website that I'm really proud of. I helped maintain it. It's a blog. For students who don't know what blog is, that's what we used last century for the information. But I love blogging, and so we post all the presentations we do and all the announcements we make on the blog. So if you just Google Brookline High Guidance, you can go on our website and download a lot of information, including everything from this night. This is a slide I'll show now, and I'll show again later on when you come for the junior college parent night. And it shows the percentage of our students going to different pathways from last year's class. As you can see, we have 86% of our students go to four-year college. Another 3%, which is pretty large for a class of about 500 kids, go into non-American schools. Another 5% go to the two-year college. And you all got most of you got the handout, was the mass transfer program. That's the automatic Massachusetts program where you can automatically transfer from a community college to any state university if you have a certain GPA at a community college. So a lot of our students use that option. Another increasingly popular option is gap year. Colleges really like students who take a gap year because they become more mature and they know what they want to do. So 2% and then 1% are employed and 1% in the military. So it's not all college. We have a real diversity of pathways out of Brookline High School, and we support all students. This is my favorite slide out of this show. It's a list of test optional schools. Fairtest.org maintains a list of every school that will take students without standardized college entrance exams. This is becoming a more and more popular option among United States colleges because they realize that a lot of students do well academically but don't do well on the tests. And they want to find those students and take them. I highly recommend looking at that list, and you'll see a lot of great schools on this list. fairtest.org. PSAT results are back mid-December. Some of the students who took them got them today. This is a test for juniors. It's normalized for juniors. If you're a sophomore, you should be taking a junior year. We automatically give the registration information in your homeroom. You should have gotten an email today or tomorrow with your scores. If you didn't, talk to your counselor or come to my office or email me. I'm talking to the students here, and I'll help you get your scores. In addition, tomorrow I'll do a session in our College and Career Center explaining what the scores mean and how you can connect to some free test prep that's available when you get the scores with the Khan Academy. And that's for students as well. All right, so just quickly going over our schedule for the remainder of the year. The December, using the PSAT results and materials, students start to look at, start beginning to develop a range of colleges. I also highly recommend talking with recent graduates who are coming back from colleges to Brookline, to their families, and how they like different schools. So you can kind of hear inside information about those schools. And then meeting with your counselor to discuss PSATs and plan on which test to take. So today you'll hear a lot of information about different tests, but nothing substitute. Each student is different. So it's really important that you meet with your guidance counselor and decide on which test you want to take. And you'll hear all about the test, but still, you need to meet with the counselor individually. In January, that's our time juniors begin the college process with the counselor. I recommend setting up a meeting with the counselor again after discussing the PSAT scores and looking at what the next step for your child should be. In addition, we have the college search program called Naviance, where we keep our data, and I'll talk about it more in a later meeting. By that time, all our students should have Naviance access since freshman year. If they don't, they can email me or the college or the counselor, and we'll get them access. And then this is a good time to register and begin studying for spring tests. The big event in January is the Gap Year Fair. So this year it will be on January 18th at 6 p.m. I have usually over 50 different Gap Year programs, including this year there will be some programs that don't cost anything. For example, City Year. So it's a great event. There will be a lecturer who will talk about all the different aspects of the Gap Year from 6 to about 7, and then all the Gap Year programs will be in our cafeteria. Everybody welcome to come over. It's never too early to start thinking about it. February is the main junior event. That's the junior night. That's where we expect all the junior parents, and it is open to students. That's where we will talk about the college process here at BHS. Starts at 7 p.m. and then we'll break down. So first I'll do my long speech with a slight Russian accent. Then you break by different groups and go to your counselor and hear from your counselor about the way he or she runs the process. In addition, I do the junior assembly here in the auditorium for all our junior students. And they hear the same exact information from me as parents heard the previous night. In March, late February, early March, we start junior guidance seminars where we repeat all the information we presented to parents at the assembly, but in more detail. And there's at least a couple of seminars your student will attend and get all the detailed information. And then my favorite event, which I organize, it takes a long time to do it because it's a BHS college fair, because we have so many colleges who want to come in here. So they send college representatives here to Brookline High School, and we have it in the cafeteria. Last year was over 80 schools, so we'll see how many we can fit this year. It's a great time to look at schools that you've never heard of, to come with the open heart, open mind, and learn about new schools, to expand your options. So again, this is for students and parents. And usually we have a lot of people, and it's a great event. And then again, in March we are planning Challenging but Balanced Senior Year. This is the 1 year where we send the first and second term grades to colleges. For the first 3 years, we just send the final grades. And then in March, we have the first popular administration of SAT. It's given in March, so it's one of the options for our students. In April, again, we work on the preliminary list of colleges, and there's an ACT exam. And we have here begin college visits. A lot of our students visit colleges during April break. I know the trend is some students visited earlier than April break. And I always say you don't need to do the intergalactic college search and visit every school in the country. You can just see some schools in the area, like BU, UMass Amherst, large public school, large private school, small private school. We have so many different schools in the area. In May is a good time to identify teachers who you would ask for recommendations and start thinking about early decision, early action options with your counselor or with me. And then we also give APs, SATs, and ACTs. So it's a lot of exams in May for juniors, if they choose to take it in May. And then finally, the final administration of this year for SATs is in June. Most of our students take one college entrance exam in their junior year. They look at their results. No matter what they get, they don't like it too much. They study hard over the summer and take it again in the beginning of next year. So a lot of our students take it twice. Again, it's best to plan with your counselor, because some of our students do well first time and you don't need to repeat it. Some students, I look at the score and I pull out the Fair Test website and say, you know what, the scores you get are nowhere near the grades you get. Let's look at the schools that don't require the test scores. So that's a huge, that helps students calm down, because there are a lot of colleges that you don't need to stress out about the test scores. And then in the summer, we recommend continuing to work on college lists and doing extracurricular and community service activities. And also, you can start filling out the Common App. It's available in the summer. You can transfer it to next year. And it's really not a complicated document. A lot of students report, but it actually helps them being organized. Again, to repeat, this is probably the most important slide. We're going to have a gap year fair on the 18th. The big junior parent and student night on the 13th of February. College fair on the 13th. And then I run another night, which is post-BHS options for students with disabilities. I invite several colleges and their disability services, and they talk about the kinds of options you have of support for students with any kind of disabilities. 504, IEP, ICAP, or just students who need additional support. And that will be on April 3rd. All of this is on our website, so, and we'll announce it in our emails. This is the same message as David said. Please, I went to the school for a year. It was really hard for me when people were talking about their scores, because they were all like better than me, and I was like upset. So I decided to include this classic Russian thing. It says, don't talk too much. But, and then one of the parents actually wrote a beautiful thing. Please be private about your scores, GPAs, and the colleges you're eligible for. College process is an independent personal journey and not a peer-judged contest, which is correct. And that's it for my presentation.